Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level grammar lesson, and today we're going to be talking about the past perfect simple. So what happened in these pictures? So here we have at 9 p.m., 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m., and then now. So we have 3 points of time in the past leading up until now. So when Dean arrived at the party, Sonia had gone home. So Sonia arrived at the party at 9 p.m. Sonia went home at 10:30 p.m. and Dean arrived at 11 p.m. Here's another example. Last night we went to the cinema. The film started at 7 p.m. We arrived at 7:15 p.m. So when we arrived at the cinema, the film had started. So often we talk about things that happened in the past. We went on a holiday, someone broke into our house, we arrived home, we discovered that someone had broken into our house. One event happened before another event. Someone broke into our house, we arrived home, and we discovered that someone had broken into our house. Here we use the past perfect to show that the first event happened before the second event happened. All right, so look at the three events. All three events happened in the past. Which event happened first, second, and third? So on Thursday, I left home at 7 p.m. I arrived at the airport at 8. My plane left at 7:30. So letter A happened first, letter C happened second, and letter B happened third. So I left home at 7 p.m., my plane left at 7:30, I arrived at the airport at 8 p.m. So using the past perfect, we would say when I arrived at the airport, my plane had left. Here are a few more examples. Taylor arrived at the restaurant early. She ordered a pizza. I arrived late. When I arrived at the restaurant, Taylor had ordered a pizza. It stopped raining. We played outside. It had stopped raining, so we played outside. We use the past perfect to make the meaning clear. So Taylor ordered a pizza. I arrived at the restaurant. So when I arrived at the restaurant, Taylor had ordered a pizza. But if we say, when I arrived at the restaurant, Taylor ordered a pizza, it means that those two things happened at the same time, not one before the other. All right, now the sentence structure for the past perfect simple is subject plus had plus a third form of the verb. I had slept, you had spoken, he had worked, she had gone, it had snowed, we had hidden, they had looked. All right, use had plus the third form of the verb to complete the sentences. You can pause the video and try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. The student was very happy because he had passed his college entrance exam. I arrived late at the office yesterday and the meeting had started. Charles's mother was not happy because he had played video games or played computer games all weekend. Desmond was not nervous because he had flown many times. Robert had gone to the supermarket, so when his friends knocked at the door, no one answered. Derek said that he had put the report on his boss's desk, but his boss didn't believe him. Joan had traveled all over the world, but this was her first visit to South America. And Alana had been excited about the party all week, so she was very disappointed when it was canceled. Now, make some of your own sentences for each situation below. You can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So you visited your grandparents, but they were not at home. Say, they had gone out. Samuel came late to the office. The meeting had started. You went to New York for the first time in 15 years. It had changed a lot. Alice didn't come to the cinema with us last night. She had organized something else. So which event happened first and which happened second? John was happy because he had won the tennis match. So John won a tennis match. He was happy. I checked the back door, but someone had already locked it. So someone locked the door, and then I checked it. Ella had broken her arm, so she was in the hospital for a week. So Ella broke her arm, and she was in the hospital. He went home when he had completed all his work. So he completed his work and he went home. Elena and Christina arrived at the theater, but the theater had canceled the play. The play was canceled. They arrived at the theater. I looked for you everywhere, but you had left the office. You left the office. And I looked for you. Someone had called me, but I didn't answer the phone. Someone called. I didn't answer. Malice had knocked on the door, but no one answered. Malice knocked. No one answered. Now read each situation, which happened first, and then link the events with because and the past perfect simple. So the first one is done for you. Somebody broke into our house. We called the police. We called the police because somebody had broken into our house. Try the rest of these on your own, and then when you're ready, you can restart the video to check your answers. I stayed in the hospital because I had been in a car accident. I could not go to university because I had failed my entrance exam. Henry's mom was really angry because Henry hadn't done his homework. Okay, now see if you can make some sentences. James was excited about his trip. because he had never been to Mexico, because he hadn't been to Mexico before. Helen didn't play tennis well because she had never played before. Ben was hungry all day because he hadn't eaten anything. The house was dirty because they hadn't cleaned it in weeks. Felicia couldn't write her report because she hadn't finished reading the book. So this is the past perfect simple negative form. It's subject plus hadn't plus the third form of the verb. I hadn't known, you hadn't lived, he hadn't stopped, she hadn't done, it hadn't rained, we hadn't eaten, and they hadn't spent. Now you can complete these sentences with the past perfect simple negative. Pause the video and try them on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Terry didn't pass his final exam because he hadn't studied at all. I hadn't seen John in 10 years, so at first I didn't recognize him when I saw him on the street. The flowers and plants were dead because Sally hadn't watered the garden in a long time, and it hadn't rained in months, so the ground was very dry. Now choose the correct option for each of the sentences. The man sitting next to me was quite nervous because he hadn't flown before. I was angry with you because you hadn't bothered to call me. Graham was happy because he had finished his homework. She hadn't decided what to buy for her sister's birthday, and now she still doesn't have a present. So here are the events on a timeline. I wasn't hungry at 11 a.m. because I had already eaten. So he ate, and then at 11, he still wasn't hungry, and then he's talking about this event now. So see if you can make sentences out of each of these timelines. You could say, David had already left home when I knocked on the door, so there was no answer. John could not complete his book report for school because he had not finished his book. I turned around because someone had called my name. I couldn't open the door because I had forgotten to bring the keys to the office. The children couldn't play outside because it had rained all afternoon. And Riley felt sad because she had had a fight with her best friend. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.